Hello, Eric Gibaud, Claudia Reyes, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and Claudia is driving, but not only driving, because she's been with me around testing several cameras, and thanks to photosfera.com, today we can present the Fujifilm X-S10 and give you our impression. So let's start. So, technical side of it. Claudia is going to tell us about all the technical things. No, it seems she wants me to tell that. The boring part is always for me. That's not fair, but okay, I'm going to speak about the boring part. So, this is a mirrorless camera, APS-C format, 26.1 megapixels. You have sensor cleaning, SD card, memory card, one slot, which is here, and with the battery here. If you open here, up, just one slot, it's here, okay? It's UHS-1. This is a 14-bit color sensor. Many people think only full frame has 14-bit. Now, most, or not, I would say all APS-C cameras have 14 bits. ISO. So I'm going to pass you some pictures we've made at night time. So ISO goes from native 160 up to 12,800, but then you can force it to 80, 100, 125, 25,600, and 51,200. I would say up to 3200 is completely usable, but then from then it's really a bit more noisy, and then when you get to 25,600 or 51,200, it's completely useless unless you're a paparazzi and you think it's better to have this than nothing. You accept to have noise and something than nothing, but well, I think it's no good, obviously. Then when you look at the way it looks, for the first time, Fuji is putting a PASM wheel. So Fujifilm lover maybe won't like it because it's more like what other cameras are doing. But people who come from Canon, Nikon, and many other brands, they will probably love that because it's easier for them to understand the way it works. You still have here on this lens, the aperture on the lens. You have several wheels here, so I'm not sure if you in some other kind of lens, maybe you're using one of the wheel for aperture, but on this case, it's on the lens, okay? You have image stabilization. So, so far only the XH1 and the XT4 had stabilization. So here you have image stabilization, mechanical one. It says it stabilizes 6 stops. We've tried with pictures and we've tried with video. With video, it's okay, but it's not as good as Olympus, which has a far better image stabilization. Handheld test, walking. Handheld test, running as fast as I can without falling. It's very similar to the XT4, I think. But when we speak about pictures, you don't see that difference. We've made pictures up to 1 second and we had no problem. So honestly, I think this is a really, really good image stabilization if Olympus did not exist. Okay, so, but if you look at it, I think it could be bettered when you're using in video, honestly. Speed from 30 seconds up to 1/4000th of a second. If we look at the mechanical shutter, with electronic shutter you can go up to 32,000 thousandth of a second. Then you have the flash. You have an integrated flash here, very small flash. I think to me this is useless, that kind of flash, not on this camera than on any camera, but sometimes you use it to trigger another flash, or you have no flash at all, you feel, well, better this than nothing. For me, the dark point is it synchronizes only at 180th of a second. I think this is too low. I would prefer to have 250th of a second. That would be a lot more what I like, okay? But well, this is it depends on the kind of camera, the range it belongs to. We cannot compare everything anyway, okay? Burst rate. Using the electronic shutter, you can make a burst up to 30 frames per second, but then you have a crop of 125. So if you really don't want any crop when doing a very high speed burst rate, you must go to the mechanical shutter, and then you get 8 pictures per second, 8 frames per second. Is it Little, well, depends what you compare to. If I compare to my Canon 5D Mark III I had several years ago, oh, there's a fly around here, okay. Well, actually, I had something like 5 frames per second. So for me, 8, it's okay. And I never actually use burst rate. I mean, if I'm doing picture to Claudia, if I need burst rate, it's because she's escaping there, so it must be like this. But then it's not a fashion shooting, so it doesn't. I don't actually use that. Okay, so I think 8 frames per second for that camera. I think this is fine. You have pre-shot. Pre-shot, it means when you off-press a shutter, it starts making pictures, and then when you've definitely pressed, it makes the rest of the burst. In this case, you can go up to 30 images per second, but you have a crop of 125. So it's not like the Pro Capture of Olympus on some of their cameras, where you have no crop and you actually do the burst, the pre-shot like this. The burst rate is even higher, but I mean, if you compare the system, there is no crop on Olympus on this. Yes, there is a crop. Bracketing. You can make many kind of bracketing, so you make several pictures and then you pick the one you prefer. So you have exposure bracketing, film bracketing. You know that Fujifilm, they make film simulation that remind you of their film, analog film look. You can pick 3 film out of the 18 they have. Dynamic range bracketing, ISO bracketing, white balance bracketing, and also you have focus stacking. So it makes several pictures with a small, I don't know you call that, the focus point is moving forward or backward, and then you make several pictures, and then it stacks everything together, and you have a larger, a deeper depth of field. Okay. In this case, you can make up to 999 pictures, so it really gives you a lot of possibilities with the bracketing. Okay, with the focus stacking. Focusing, you have manual focusing obviously, and then you have autofocus with as a contrast and phase detection. So it's really good, and I'm really impressed with low light focusing, up to -7 EV. So it's really good. In really low light, you can actually make focusing really easy. You have also face and eye detection. So when Sony and Olympus, when Sony and Fujifilm got their eye detection out, many people were like, "Wow, incredible!" And I said Olympus because Olympus had it already for several years, but this one are really good, and this is really similar to the X-T4. So it's not getting better, it's really similar. So if you've seen tests with the X-T4, you'll get similar results with this one. Okay, it does time lapse, and then when we speak about the screen, you have this touchable screen and fully orientable. As you can see, you can like this. It's 3-inch, okay, diagonal. Really good screen. I think it's really nice. And as I'm speaking about you can actually use it like this, facing you for vlogging. So I'm going to show you some vlogging sample we've made. Vlogging test. The sound is directly from the microphone. Oh. A ghost. This is Claudia in the autofocus saying hi to us. Well, this is the sound directly from the microphone of the X-S10, and I'm on f2, so you see the autofocus is important. As I was speaking about vlogging, let's speak about video. It does video 4K in 30, 25, 24p, and maximum recording time, continuous recording time, 30 minutes. And then you have 2 Full HD. You have Full HD in 2048 by 1080, and then you get 60, 50, 30, 25, 24 frames per second, also 30 minutes continuous recording. And then you have Full HD in 1920 by 1080, and you also get 60, 50, 30, 25, 24 maximum recording time, 30 minutes. And also in Full HD 1920 by 1080, you have high speed recording at 240, 200, 120 and 100 frames per second. In this case, you get only recording for 3 minutes. I think it's enough because you don't make a movie with slow motion the whole movie, so I think 3 minutes is fine. Okay, then you have film simulation. So I pass you some film simulation, 18 film simulation like Provia, Velvia, Acros, all this that Fujifilm has. You can also do HDR Oh, I forgot to say, you also have color chrome simulation and well, look, and color chrome blue. So these two look give to the picture. It was first issued on the medium format, the GFX. Can't remember if it's the 50 or the 100. I'm not sure. And also I presented you on the X100V. I'll give you the link here. Just here on top of your head. Just here. Okay. Okay. And you have this chrome look that are available also. You have creative filters. I've never used creative filter. I don't like them, but some people love them. So you have toy, pop color, all this. I mean, you can check this on Fujifilm website if you like this. It's there. Then connectivity, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Then here you have USB-C and then micro HDMI. And then on top of it, you have a microphone connector, 3.5mm jack that you can also use to connect a trigger, a remote trigger with a cable. Okay. Battery. So let's get it out. It's a small battery. It's here. Okay, here it is. And first thing, the charger is not included. They give you a small USB, cable. You can actually connect to any phone charger. I actually charged the camera with my MacBook charger. It was no problem. I could charge. You can actually use the camera while charging. So if you have a power bank, you can actually connect it and still use the camera while it's charging. But what I didn't like is that it gives you only 325 pictures. I always claim that it would be good to have at least 500 pictures on one charge. I think 325 is still little, but that's a problem with all mirrorless cameras. And if we speak about video recording, in 4K you get 40 minutes, and in 1080 you get 55 minutes, which is little. Then when we speak at the weight, 465 grams with a camera, obviously with camera, with a battery and SD card. So let's look at the camera if I forgot anything. As you can see, the buttons are well placed. Here you have the switch, here you have ISO button, you have wheels here. Turn it around this way. As you can see here, up this side. Here you have a small joystick, and here you have two buttons. They really, they don't come out at all. So at night time, when I wanted to configure and correct to click, I could not find them. And then in daytime I realized why they do it this way, because this way you don't accidentally press this button. The only thing I would like to change is that the play button to review your pictures I would prefer to have it on the left and not here. But for the rest, it's really nice. It works really well. I forgot to say in other languages. I'll tell it in English. Here you have diopter control. You can actually change the diopter. So it's really good. It's really good. So what else can we say? Well, now we're going to tell the conclusion. Oh, break. Time. I forgot a small detail. I did not speak about some of my notes about image quality and the advanced autofocus system, continuous autofocus system. Why? Because actually I've seen the same thing with the X-T4, X-T3, X-T30. I'll leave you the reviews here. And actually you will not get a better image with the X-T4 image quality. The photo quality is your problem. Image quality is the camera problem. So you will not get a better image quality with the X-T4. So actually it was pointless to me to speak about it, but then I realized that some people have not seen on X-T4 or have not seen on X-T4 reviews. So this is why I add this now. And the continuous autofocus system, you have several configurations like sport, if or animals, if it's a subject that all of a sudden starts running or keeps running or do a random way of running or whatever. This is exactly the same system on the X-T4, X-T3, X-T30. I already explained that in these reviews, so I'll leave you the links here, and that's it. So if you want to buy an X-T4 thinking you're gonna get better image quality, which is what many people think about, no, you will not get a better image quality. This one is exactly the same, which is really a good quality anyway. Okay, so look at the rest of the camera, not the image quality, if you think this is the key decision for you. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, you saw many pictures while we were speaking about the camera. Many of these pictures were made by Claudia, so I don't know which one exactly, but most of them were made by her, because actually she was using more the Fujifilm or using other cameras, because we've been reviewing and testing 3 cameras at the same time. But the picture you've seen, many are her picture. Okay. So, conclusion. Well, I don't have only just my conclusion. Claudia can tell hers, because she tried the camera, and I'm going to translate what she says. We're going to ask her what she thinks about the camera. ¿Qué te pareció? What do you think about the camera?
El look así retro me gusta, el aspecto.
She likes the look, the retro style, you know.
El peso, el tamaño.
Weight and size, really good.
Y luego, pues, los botones que están un poco dispuestos diferentes, un poco adaptarse, pero...
Buttons, maybe to get used to them, because maybe it plays a bit different to what she's normally used.
El agarre también.
The grip is really good. She likes the grip.
Y me parece cómoda, fácil
and
de...
easy to use. And,
fácil de manejar, de entender. Bien.
And any defect?
Que no es mía.
The biggest defect is that's not hers. That's it. And the technical side? El aspecto técnico?
Eso tú.
I tell about the specific side, technical side. Well, my opinion is, technical description I already said, but for me, it's like a small X-T4, but it's really an X-T4 without caffeine. Because they did remove many things, like it's not weather sealed, 4K is just up to 30 or 25 images per second, and burst rate is only, mechanical burst rate is only 8 pictures per second, but still I think this is a great camera. The only thing, it's really hard to tell where it belongs in Fujifilm cameras. Is it a small X-T4? Is it a big X-T200? I think it's like a different family, but it does looks more like an X-T3, X-T4 than an X-T200, I think, or X-T100. I think it belongs more to this X-T3, X-T4 family, but it's still less, so it's smaller, all this. So I think it's a great camera for people who would like to have around that budget. I think it's around €1,000, something like this, a bit more or less. And I think it's better than the X-T200 because it is stabilized. So I think it is a better camera in for that part, and it's really nice to use all this. And I would definitely recommend this camera for people who are thinking of spending that kind of money. I think it competes directly with Olympus, the OMD5 family. We're actually testing right now the OMD5 Mark III. I think it competes directly with it, although this stabilizer is not as good as the Olympus one, and there are some features that Olympus has this one doesn't have. And it also, I think, it competes with the Sony Alpha 6400 and 6600. I think this is more or less where you would see this camera fighting, actually, So do I recommend this camera? Yes, definitely I recommend this camera for people who have that kind of budget and look for this kind of features. It's a really good camera. Do you recommend it? Yes. Yes, she recommends. Wow, she doesn't speak right now, but she understands everything, and she can speak, but not on video. She doesn't want. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Thank you very much to Photosura for lending us the camera. Thanks to you for watching the video. If you think it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a small button down here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, you get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below. And also in the description, I put links of my gear in Amazon and also links to other parts of my YouTube channel. Please take care of yourself, and we see you soon. Bye.